Hello again, imaginary audience! Did you enjoy those commercials? I sure did. What did you think of them, Wilson?
They were lovely. It was a lovely bunch of commercials.
I thought that last one, I don't know about that last one, really.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see once we actually get around to making them.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, that last one. Golly gee.
Yeah.
That was
Anyway,
one
moving
humdinger.
on. So I was, let's see here, gawking at Blue Man.
Yes, you
And-
were gawking at the blue man.
So, gawking at the Blue Man, did I do anything? You had just finished showing me the abacus thing.
Yeah. And I think you were just about as concluded at that one.
Yeah,
So-
I didn't have much to say after that point. I think, so I guess maybe I take a look at my dad and take a look at my dad before leaving, just kind of seeing how he looks and kind of, if it seems like I've kind of fucked up his business deal that badly.
He doesn't seem too disturbed. Neither does the blue man. They've kind of went back to their conversation, and they've kind of went to the side of the booth a little.
Mm-hmm.
And you do notice that there's somebody else at the booth that you'd completely ignored. Another worker there, because each booth usually has about 2 to 3 people at it.
Mm-hmm.
She's an archaic. She's fairly tall for archaic, close to your height,
Mm-hmm.
which is very tall, I suppose. But she's talking to a group of kids about the abacus.
I eavesdrop.
It's pretty much all the same stuff you've already heard.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like, do they actually know the stuff, or is the idea that this the taller archaic is teaching the other children, or what's the idea?
She's kind of just teaching them about the abacus, going over uses and functionality, and showing them a map on the one that's on her wrist.
Okay. I guess
You do notice that it's started to get quite crowded in here,
Mhm.
and that the parking lot that you can kind of see from here is filled with wagons and steam-powered trucks and all sorts of automobiles.
Mhm.
Numerous makes and models you haven't seen before.
Okay.
So
I guess
it's getting quite crowded here. You're glad that you went to the captain of the guards already, because
Mhm.
there's a big lineup now and a huge group of kids there.
Okay. All right. I guess. Oh. Moaning.
Oh, okay, moaning.
Anyway, I guess I head out of there, and I guess I look for some place that would actually. I'm trying to think.
Do you want to check your map?
Yeah, I'll check my map. Let's see. Let me. I think I'll compare what's on my map to what's actually open right now.
Okay. Well, now everything is well and open and quite crowded, and you can hear a lot of yelling and like some rock smashing from. Well, you can't see it, but from the map picture, you assume that it would be the mining one.
Okay.
What number was it? 16. So it's on the other side of the guard station area. So you can't quite see it from here because of the huge crowd, but you hear a lot of commotion from that area, and that corner of the area looks very, very crowded from here.
Okay, I guess.
But you do notice that the other side, where the carpentry and the lumberjacking and stuff is all quite empty, because everybody seems to be quite engulfed by the
mining.
foreign work of the mining and smelting. So now might be a good time to go and check out some of the other ones.
Yeah, because it's a little bit busy at the moment.
And you do notice on the map that 25 is unlabeled. Why is 25 unlabeled? Probably because the god of this universe forgot to put something there, because I didn't really know.
I go to booth 25.
Okay, you go to booth 25 and see that it's mostly just storage. They've got a bunch of extra tools and stuff, and said the booth was closed due to lack of funds.
Do I see anybody around this booth, or do they seem kind of not really paying attention?
There's another Arthen man. He seems pretty unassuming, holding a clipboard, just kind of sitting at the booth. writing on it.
I
on
guess
his
I guess I walk over to him and I ask, let's see, what his job is.
Well, I'm just the guy who makes sure that all of the supplies gets to who needs it.
Let's see here. I guess, let's see. I ask him, what kind of supplies?
Well, I kind of help all of the carpentry and the lumberjacks and a lot of the guilds kind of get together and make sure that they're cooperating.
Let's see. I ask him if they tend not to cooperate.
Well, the guild leader of some of them kind of don't get along, so I had to specifically ask for some of them to be far apart.
Let's see here. I ask. Let's see here. I kind of I'm getting close with the guy, and I sort of whisper. Let's see here. Well, what seems? Who's the troublemaker?
Well, old man Willikers at the Carpentry Guild doesn't agree with the old man that runs the Masonry Guild. So I have to put them on the opposite sides of the grounds.
Let's see here. I guess I nod sagely, and then I walk over to the Masonry Guild.
You notice that the Masonry Guild is right in the huge heart of the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you still want to try to fight your way through the crowd to get to the Masonry Guild's booth?
I say fuck it, and I go. Let's see. I go to the
Carpentry.
I go to the. I'm like looking at the list now here because it's conveniently in front of my face. I decide to go to the Arcane Circuitry booth.
Okay, right next to the one you were at a little while ago.
Yeah, so taking a very roundabout way to...
yeah, instead of just going from booth to booth like a normal person.
Yeah.
They're flailing around daftly.
I'm getting exercise, okay?
Okay, well, you're fighting through the crowd a little bit. It's getting quite crowded, and you see a lot of the kids are eating all sorts of confectionery desserts and deep-fried pastries and deep-fried things on sticks, and some of them have like a flossy, fluffy, sweet confectionery thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're not
Which
quite
may
sure
or
what
may
it
not
is.
be
You've
something
never.
that I personally am familiar with.
You're not quite sure what it is as a character, but
Yeah. You probably have some idea in outside world.
in real life, what it is.
Yeah. Okay, so it's kind of crowded.
You were
by
making
the,
your way to which one? Arcane Circuitry?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you make your way there and see that there's a huge lineup for their demo. They've got a very similar thing, except their circuit board seems to do a lot more movement, and the pegs look a little bit more detailed, and it seems to do more motions and stuff.
Okay, I decide to wait in line, and I guess I strike up a conversation with the person in front of me.
You try to talk to the guy in front of you. He's a bit of a taller bloke, but he doesn't seem like he really wants to talk, and he just kind of and grunts you off and goes back to waiting in line.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. I kind of I decided to talk to him anyway because I had nothing else to do. So I just kind of talk about how it's really nice weather recently, and that I thought it was really. Let's see, the sword fighting was really cool, and I just kind of drone on.
Well, you're talking, and he keeps just kind of trying to ignore you best you can.
Mm-hmm. I guess this goes on for a while we're waiting in line.
Yeah. The line doesn't seem to be moving at all, and you're
At
waiting
all,
there for
okay.
quite a while, and you're starting to get kind of hungry.
Alright, so I guess I say goodbye to the man, and let's see, that I hope to meet him again sometime. And
He doesn't even make eye contact, and he continues trying his best to ignore you.
Yeah, I go. I guess I go. I look at I go to number 9 on the
The food
booth
and drink.
list, because that happens to be where the food is.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you walk all the way back to the booth you were just beside a little while ago. You do notice that there's a bit of a line up now, but last time you were here, there probably wasn't much of a line. So again, you think, golly gee, I'm doing this in the most stupid manner possible. But oh well, I'm hungry now. So you make your way all the way back through there. You fight through the crowd, and you get to the front of the line.
All right,
so the man says, "Oh, what'll it be?"
I look at the menu.
Okay, so next to you, there's some planks of wood with crudely drawn pictures and some writing next to them. You're looking down the menu, and you think that cotton candy sounds familiar. You're not quite sure if you've ever had it, but it sounds like it's something that you might want. You're a fan of sweet foods. Are you actually? Are you a fan of sweet foods?
Am I a fan of sweet foods? I am, yes. Very much so.
Yes. As well as they have a variety of hot dogs and sausages.
Okay.
Do you like hot dogs and sausages?
Let's see here. Not as much as sweets, but I'll eat a sausage occasionally.
You are feeling like you want something a bit more dense than just candy.
Yeah. Let's see here. I guess I look for like a dense dessert, probably like a cake or something.
Okay. Well, you're looking through it and you see one that's it's like a deep fried battered apple. You recognize it as an apple pie like dessert, but deep fried. It's called an apple. Because I can't think of a name.
An apple cranberry.
Yes, apple cranberry.
Let's see. I ask for an apple cranberry, and I pull out the money that it says on the menu and give it to him.
Oh, the man looks at you and says, "Oh, nah, for you. You helped me unload this morning. I'll just give you free on the house." And he also throws in a drink.
I give him the warmest smile possible. And then
he smiles back at you and hands you your drink and your deep fried pastry.
I grab him and then I walk in the direction of the first booth that looks like it doesn't seem completely crowded.
Okay.
While I'm eating and drinking and whatnot.
The jewelry and the totem making seem pretty dead.
I go to the jewelry one.
You go to the jewelry booth and you see that they've got all sorts of like clay and stuff there, and some small heat runes of melting wax and some molds that you can pour into and make little trinkets.
Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Am I like the only one at this booth, or is there like a couple other people?
Well, there's one other person who's just kind of hanging out.
He's not actually even like making any jewelry. He's just kind of. Like,
he's playing with some of the clay. He's making something, but the instructor on the other side is completely free at the time.
I peer over his shoulder, just let's see, sneakily to see what he's making.
He gladly kind of turns a little bit and lets you watch what he's making, because you're not very stealthy with your giant pastry.
I'm just too big, I guess.
In your glass bottle of drink that you haven't opened yet.
Oh, it's a glass bottle. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I guess while I'm watching, I pop it open and kind of sit there like I'm at a movie theater, I guess.
Well, you've got your glass bottle in your left hand, and you just kind of bite the cap and flick it off with your teeth, as you've done before.
Yeah.
You seem to be quite familiar with this drink. You recognize it as one of your favorites. It's a common soda that is imported into the area. Being a slightly richer kid, you buy it on a regular basis. Because the store your parents run out of your house has it in stock constantly.
So what is this person making?
It's the only place in town to get it.
What is this person making?
So you look over at him, and he's rolling out the clay, and he's got it already kind of rolled out in front of him, and he seems to be carving in a two-dimensional cast of some sort. You recognize it as a pendant, and he's got a variety of little cut stones next to him.
Okay.
They're semi-precious stones. You recognize them as And it's like rubies and sapphires and stuff. This
So he
this
doesn't.
booth is obviously well to do if they can just hand out sapphires to all the kids.
Let's see here. Is it obvious whether it's like the trinket he's making is a certain motif or anything like that, or is it just pretty much just a generic brooch?
He seems to be making a pendant for a necklace.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
kind
let's-
of it's a hexagon
Okay.
with a space for the gem kind of carved out in the front that he's going to smush into and then pour it over. He seems to almost be done, and it's got like this intricately carved little webbing almost. It looks kind of like a spider web holding
Okay.
up the little gem.
All right. So I guess let's see. I ask him if he does this a lot. If it's a him.
The kid smiles up at you, and he seems to be about your age, and he's like, "Yeah, I used to play with a lot of clay back when I lived." And he mentions that he comes from the fishing tribe to the south.
Okay. Listen, I guess I briefly mentioned that I've done a little bit of pottery, but I've always wanted to get a little bit more into jewelry.
And
Just
he's
kind yeah.
he says, "Yeah, my mom did a lot of castings for the local blacksmith, and we shipped them up to the north tribes so they can cast fine jewelry in them." So he's made these little casts and stuff before, so he clearly knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. And let's see. I guess I ask him if he'd help me make one.
He says, "Sure thing, just grab a chunk of clay." And the lady behind the desk just gladly hands you this massive wad of clay.
Okay. I get the massive wad of clay. All right. I guess. So I guess maybe now I would describe what I'm trying to make then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you do still have she places it in front of you because you still have your pastry and your pop in hand.
Yes. I guess I probably put them down. I guess on the.
Well, you put the soda down, but I'm assuming you just kind of quickly finish your pastry because you were almost done.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, so yum 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 yum. You finish the pastry and set the little stick next to your pop that you take a swig of.
So I guess
Before
what I
setting.
try and do is I try and make something that looks like an abacus with a sword in front of it.
An abacus with a sword in front of it.
That's going to be like kind of like an amulet sort of thing. It's not like huge. It's going to be rather small.
You take the carving tools in hand and you start kind of carving out a rectangular base and curving the front of it and putting a little screen and some buttons next to it.
Mm-hmm.
And you carve the whole abacus out first, and then you kind of add a sword crossing in front of it,
Mm-hmm.
kind of carved in deeper than the other thing. And the lady behind the desk says, "Oh, that's a pretty good job you're doing there."
Thank you.
And
I guess I ask her if she has any suggestions.
she looks at it and she just states, "Do you want to put a gem in there for the screen?" And she picks up this little light blue, I think it's a topaz or something. You're not quite sure exactly what gem it is. She hands it to you, and it's just a little bigger than the area you'd carved out for the screen.
Mm-hmm.
You notice if you place it in there, the sword would still be cast in front of it.
Mm-hmm. But it's kind of a little too big.
It's just a little big, but you can smush it. You can carve it out and smush it a little bit more
Okay.
to make the gem fit.
Let's see here. I guess I ask her. I guess I point out that it's a little bit too big, and I ask her if we could cut it to be smaller.
She says, "No, sorry, we don't have all the cutting tools with us today."
Okay.
No,
I guess I try
I'm
and
afraid
make
that's
do
the
with.
best gem we've got.
I guess I'd make do with what I have and just do the best job I can at making it look good.
Okay. Being quite familiar with clay and clay working, you quickly carve out the screen to just be slightly bigger, and you carve the abacus, so the whole thing's just a little bit bigger, so it's more to scale. And the sword quickly comes into shape, and you do quite a well job. And at this time, you notice that they're pouring something into the mold that your newly acquired friend has carved.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to look up from your artwork and admire his pour?
I will admire his pour with gusto, I guess.
Okay. Well, you look over to see that they're pouring some sort of warm, kind of silvery colored liquid into it.
I ask him if it's silver.
The woman smiles and says, "No, it's merely a 2-part resin to resemble silver. It heats up quite quickly, and it cools quite quickly to be quite strong. But it's substantially cheaper than silver and easier to work with."
I thought occurs. What is Arthan currency made out of? I guess it depends on what coin it actually is.
Yeah, the Arthan currency is made in the capital, and it's got 3 coins: the 1, the half, and the quarter. Each of them have stamped on them a different symbol.
Yeah, are they made out of a pure metal?
Yeah, for the most part. The 1 is made out of gold, the 2nd is made out of silver, and the 3rd is made out of copper.
Okay. I guess I'll admire the pouring kind of, let's see, I guess wait until, like, the pouring is no longer being used, and then I bring out some gold coins from my pocket and I ask, can we use these for mine?
She looks down at you and says, "Sorry, we're not allowed to use any material from out of the booth."
Let's see. I try and use the fact that I am son of the, organizer to get her to make an exception.
So you try to persuade her a little bit.
Yeah.
And she looks down at you.
I'm the son of the so-and-so.
Kind of looks slightly annoyed and says, "Rules are rules, no matter what your standing is." And she kind of looks almost disappointed at the fact you even brought it up.
I kind of let my head drop a little bit, and I guess I make do with the materials that she's allowing me to use.
The resin.
Yeah.
But she looks at you because she notices she's kind of hurt your feelings a little bit and says, "But you can pick your color." And she hands you a couple of little samples.
Okay, I take a look.
Looking at them, they feel kind of like metal, but they're a little lighter. And they're not quite as cold as metal should be. She hands you 3. One's the silver color that you notice he used. One looks a lot like gold. And then the last one is kind of a shimmery blue.
Shimmery blue, okay.
Yeah, it's a solid color, but it's kind of a blue.
What color was the abacus? I can't remember now.
They come in kind of a silvery color.
Okay. Let's see. I think I will actually use the silver material. But I think before I do that, I'm going to try and put a rune in my very small trinket.
Okay. Any specific
Let's see.
attempt? Like, what do you want it to do?
Okay, what do I want it to do? I want it to... let's see here. Is there a rune for let's see, making me convince better?
Persuasion?
Yeah, I suppose that's kind of a bit cheaty. I don't know.
Because you noticed you're not very good at persuading.
Yeah.
You think about it a little bit, and you're staring down at it, and she's starting to melt the silver color for you. Puts a lot of the little pellets in there with a clear liquid she pours in too from a glass vial, like a jug, I suppose. And she's heating it up on a little hot plate of sorts. It's like a runic hot plate.
Okay, so I'm still thinking about it?
Yeah, you're thinking about it, and You don't know any rune to do this,
Okay. Let's
but
see here.
you could make an attempt at making one up. So you
Okay,
could draw like a speech bubble or come up with a pattern that would represent a persuasion.
I'd like to make a rune of let's see here. A what would it be? I'm trying to think. What would represent a? Let's see here. Like the peasantry or someone of low class.
I have no idea. You've got to come up with a symbol.
I gotta come up with one. All right.
You've got to come up with one. It's part of the process.
It's gonna be a farmer's crook with a crown above it and a line dividing the two.
A crook?
A farmer's crook, like to herd sheep.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, let's see here. Let's do some googling then. Farmer's crook.
Let's take a break from this and Google.
Yes, and you can join us, imaginary audience. I know you love this. Yeah. But it is basically so that you can kind of, I guess, grab the sheep's head with the stick and kind of
Oh,
move
it's
it around.
just like, yeah, okay. I Googled it too. It looks just kind of like a cane.
It does look like a cane, yeah.
Yes. It's just a cane with like a heavy corner on it.
But
Okay.
the idea is that it's symbolizing, like, let's see, I am above you sort of thing, so you should listen to me.
Okay. So, you carve this into the mold a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you take the finest tool and you carve this in super small, and it looks quite stylized, and you kind of draw a circle around it.
Mm-hmm.
It flashes a little bit of light from it and then quickly fades. So you're not sure if it's taken effect.
Okay.
The lady asks, "Are you ready to pour?"
I'm ready to pour.
Okay. So she says, "Stand back a little bit."
Mm-hmm.
She ushers you to take a step back as she starts to pour the resin in.
Mm-hmm.
She quickly fills the little container, the little mold with it, and uses a tool to kind of scrape it flat.
Mm-hmm.
As well as, and then after that, she just kind of puts her hand on top of it, and you see that there's a slight glowing from the palm of her hand, and it solidifies almost instantaneously.
Mm. I guess I asked her about that. Like, is that supposed to happen?
Yeah, it's merely the way we get these things to work a little quicker.
I kind of look a little bit impressed.
If you signed up for jewelry making, it would be one of the first things you learn.
I nod.
So she's like, "Okay, it's all done. You can remove it from the mold now." She gestures back at it, and you can pick up the tools and start kind of scraping it out.
All right, I do so. Let's see how this thing turned out.
Okay. You start scraping at it a little bit and pulling up on the trinket.
Mm-hmm.
And you quickly get it out of the clay, and she kind of uses a wide scraper to pick up the clay, and she takes it back behind the booth and starts kind of remushing it together and making it back into just normal clay.
Mm-hmm.
And she just quickly turns back to you and says, "Wash it off in the barrel next to the booth." You turn your head to see that there's a large barrel of kind of murky-looking water.
Let's see here.
Probably just because it's got particulate of clay in it.
Okay. I guess I walk over to the barrel and let's see here. I guess yeah. Okay, I wash it off in the barrel.
Okay, so you quickly wash it off, and you see that the mold has casted it quite well. The gem is held in there.
Mm-hmm.
The sword goes over in front of it.
And the mark on the back is still good.
You look at it, and the symbol you made seems to have smudged and didn't take effect.
Okay. So, I guess I shrug and I put let's see, I put on the necklace anyway.
Well,
Oh, wait,
it's
no, I
not
need to
on
attach
a
it to
chain.
something,
It's just
don't
a
I?
trinket.
Yeah, I need to put it onto a string or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
so I
see
guess-
on the corner of the booth, there's a bunch of fine chains. They're just like little necklace chains,
Okay.
each
I
on
grab
like a
it.
hook.
I grab a black-looking one.
Okay. You find one of the darkest ones, and it's just a simple metal chain.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. So let's see. I guess I thank her, and then I see if the other person is still there, and I ask for his name.
He is still there, and you see that his is already on a chain, and he was just watching yours pour and see if that was successful.
Mm-hmm.
So you turn to him and ask him his name, I suppose.
Thank you for helping me. What's your name?
Hold on, I think I actually have a file of acceptable names somewhere.
Okay.
Because I don't remember.
Yes. Yes.
I forget these things.
It happens. Now would be an excellent time for a commercial break.
Yes, it would.
See you in a moment, imaginary audience. Woo. Cotton candy, the sweetest treat you'll never eat.
Why? I want to eat cotton candy. No, Dad, you cannot. No, Daddy, why? Fuck off.
The co-optional. No, not. Welcome back, imaginary audience.
Welcome. When we last departed, I was having trouble thinking up of a name.
Yes. And now you are not, I assume, or we wouldn't be back already.
I have a name in hand.
Okay. So, so I asked the kid, thank you for helping me. What's your name?
I'm Kenneth. Well, how about you?
I am Theodore.
He smiles at you and puts the pendant around his neck, the one he made.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'll take another admiring look at it to see if it looks any different or if it looks nice.
You see that it is a hexagonal shape with a gem in the middle of the same shape, and then little intricate lines connecting it.
Okay. So I guess
It looks quite fragile, but
Does it look more fragile than mine?
yes.
But it
It's
is
very delicate.
I guess I
Look.
asked him what his inspiration was for his trinket.
Well, it's I just like the shape of the gem and decided to build something around it.
It turned out very well.
Thanks.
Let's see. I'll see you later.
See ya. Have a nice day.
You too. Alright, so, reassessing the situation, how is the totem making place?
That is right next to you.
Mm-hmm.
You see that there's a couple of kids there, but there's also like 4 instructors.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
you could
All right, so
probably
I
go
guess-
and get your own instructor.
I guess I go up there and I ask if someone could teach me how to make a totem.
You step up to it and you see all of these small cuts of wood
Mm-hmm.
of various different shapes. They've gotten some cylinders, some cubes, and some small discs and things.
Mm-hmm.
And on the surface of the table, you see that the whole thing is covered with a giant piece of paper, and on it is strewn all this information about totems.
Mm-hmm.
One of the workers there walks up to you and asks, well, I guess, did you ask? Did you say anything?
I said, can anyone teach me how to make a totem here?
Yeah, I dropped a dice. I don't know where
Natural
it went.
20, I bet.
Sorry. This is what happens when I fiddle with them. Why, yes, certainly. That's what we're here for. And archaic woman walks up to you.
Mhm. Okay, so let's see here. I guess. So where do I start?
She gestures at the table and says, "Pick a piece of wood."
All right, I look at the table and admire the many different wood types that I no doubt have access to, being that this is like a lumber village.
Yeah, you recognize a lot of the different cuts of wood. Your eye is instantly drawn to this darker cut of wood. It's a darker kind of wood. You know that it's not something you grow in this village, so they must have brought it from somewhere else.
All right, so
It's got 3 shapes that are all in the same cut, the same kind of wood. A circle, a square, and a triangle.
okay, so they're kind of like flat
Yeah.
of shapes. Okay,
They're just little flat discs.
so a triangle, a circle, and a
square.
rectangle,
Square.
a square. Okay, I grab the triangle one.
Okay. You pick up the triangle, and she says, "Very nice," and hands you a little knife. Not a knife. A marker, like the one
I
you
stab her with the knife. You should not have given me a knife.
Okay, rewind. No knife. It was a marker, a little wax marker. She
I do
holds
not
up.
stab her with the marker.
She holds up 3 of the wax markers. These ones are a little different than the ones you have. It's a base of a square, and you notice that they've been written with a lot. On the sides has all these different shapes carved into it.
So the actual
And,
markers have ruins in them.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a blue one, a red one, and a black one.
I choose the black one.
Okay. You take the black one, and then she kind of stands up on a hay bale next to the booth there, so she can actually be pretty much at eye level.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got the little pendant or the disc of wood,
Mm-hmm. That's just
There's
actually
a
a triangle
triangle?
of wood. Yeah.
the triangle of wood, on the desk.
Mm-hmm.
And she asks, "Oh, what kind of effect do you want to give it?"
Let's see here. Let's see here. I guess I asked the kid next to me what he's trying to do.
You look at the kid next to you, and he says, "I'm trying to make a totem of strength."
Okay. I guess I just decide to make a totem of speed.
Of speed.
And I let her know that that's what I choose.
Okay. She looks over at the triangle and it's like, "Okay, well, some of the most common shapes for totems of speed are the rabbit, known for being a quick animal."
So I guess after starting to draw the rabbit, I guess I say, how do they choose these symbols?
Well, it's not necessarily the symbol that you choose. It's the fact that it represents something to you. So they don't have to be the same symbol from person to person, and the same symbol may derive different meanings to different people making the symbol.
What if I didn't know what a rabbit was? Would this actually work?
No. You'd have to pick something that to you represents speed.
I nod sagely at this as I draw my very poorly drawn rabbit.
Okay. She looks down at your triangle of rabbitness, and you surprise yourself at the fact that this rabbit does actually kind of resemble a rabbit.
Okay.
But it's not a very good rabbit by any means. But
I didn't really improve in my animal making since that dog.
Okay, describe exactly the shape of the rabbit. Like what kind of rabbit were you going for? Is it like a side of a rabbit's face? Is it like the Easter bunny?
it was.
Did you
The
try to
rabbit
draw
was looking
Bugs Bunny?
directly at the jar or whatever. So it's like just like head on. It's a rabbit's. It's a rabbit's head.
Okay.
And it's looking straight
So-
at the camera with like its ears completely erect.
Okay. You made an attempt at drawing this rabbit. You kind of did just a circle with some crude circles for eyes, a smiley face with big buck teeth, and then just drew big ears on it, and called this a rabbit.
Okay. So I guess
Now-
I kind of like look at the instructor and then look back at the rabbit, look back at the instructor, and just kind of like without words ask what happens next.
Well, usually with totems, you have to complete the shape around it. So a little ways in from the edge, just draw a triangle around your piece of wood.
Okay, so I guess I guess depends on how. All right, I'll say that the rabbit was drawn small enough that I can make an inverted triangle around it.
Okay.
That's kind of like triangle within a triangle. That's like you know what
Upside
I'm
down.
talking about?
Yeah, you want the center triangle to face away from the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Well, you drew it a little big for this, so you don't quite have enough space for it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
you do try, and you kind of cut off the edges of its ears a little bit. But the
Okay.
rest of it does fit inside of the triangle. And as you do finish the shape of the triangle, you see that the wax kind of lights up
Mm-hmm.
and goes around the traces the shape that you drew, and it kind of burns into the wood a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then the color disappears, so it's just engraved into the wood.
Okay. So I guess I pick it up and I see if I feel any differently.
You pick it up and you don't really feel any different, but the lady smiles and says, "It looks like you were successful."
Let's see. I guess my character goes, "Huh?" Let's see. My character. I guess my character like stands up and kind of tries to run in a circle.
She starts chuckling at this and says, "Well, the speed boost won't be necessarily too noticeable because you are quite beginner at making totems."
Let's see here. Okay, so I guess I asked her what an easier ruin might be to do.
She looks down at you and says, "One that emits light is always a good beginner because you can tell if it works.
Okay, let's see here.
Or one that adds weight."
I decide that I'm going to try and make a light ruin, but I'm going to try and use my own symbol for it.
Okay. You gaze out onto the wood pieces and see that there's a wide variety of them again. Kind of describe what shape you're going to look for.
I'm going to pick the square.
Okay. The same dark wood?
Let's see. I'll choose a pale wood.
Okay. You find an unvarnished piece of pine. You recognize it as pine because you do come from a lumber village.
Mm-hmm.
It's a softer wood, and you know that it'll be easier to get a shape into.
Okay. So.
Do
for
you
this-
want to get a different color for this one?
Let's see
She
here.
holds out a bunch of the markers again.
Okay. So what are the options again? It's black and
Red and blue.
red and blue. I choose blue.
Okay. You give her back the little black marker and you pick the blue one. You look back down to your square. Any shape in particularly you want to go for this?
I want to go for a. Let's see here. The same shape as the abacus. That made the very bright torch-like light.
Okay. Well, it was just a cylinder that was on the side of the abacus.
Okay, so it was a cylinder on the side of the abacus. Okay, so like, what does the abacus actually look like? It's like it is like a square, isn't it?
Well, it depends the exact model.
What was
And
the one that Al used?
It well, you don't know what the model number or anything
I
was.
know, but like, what does it look like?
It okay. Think of a watch,
Okay.
except really really wide.
Very, very wide watch.
So
Okay.
take like the cylinder out of a pop bottle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at my Pepsi bottle right now. Take that, put it through your wrist, and that's basically the shape of the abacus. And then on the top, his had a rectangle of another material raised up.
Okay. Let's see.
And then next to the rectangle, it had kind of this cylinder shape for his flashlight to come out. And it had all sorts of wires and things sticking out and padding coming out of the bottom.
Okay, so I realize that drawing this is gonna be quite the task, but I decided to commit myself to it anyway. I'm gonna have it being like, let's see, the bit where the flashlight was coming out is like facing the camera again, but there's like kind of rays of light sort of going down all around, sort of like one would draw the sun, if that makes sense.
Okay. Makes well enough sense, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you make an attempt at drawing this.
Mm-hmm.
It is slightly recognizable as an abacus, but the lady at the booth kind of shoots you an odd look, because I don't think you told her that you were going to go for a light.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not quite sure of what you're trying to put on here yet.
Okay.
And you draw the lines, and you go and encompass it with a square again?
Yes, I do encompass it with a square.
Okay. You draw a square around it, and as you finish it, the square lights up, and then it traces your lines on the abacus, burns it into the wood again. But this time, when it does go into the wood, it doesn't just leave it like just hollowed. It also turns all the lines remain blue.
Okay. Interesting. Alright, so I guess...
And you do notice that it kind of starts illuminating slightly. There's kind of a blue tinge around the whole item as it sits on the counter.
Mm-hmm. But nothing amazing or anything like that.
It's not super, super bright like the abacus was, but it is noticeable even with the light, like the sun out.
Okay. I guess I'm fairly happy with this one. And I guess I smile and bring it up next to my face as I look at the instructor.
She smiles and she kind of just says, "Very good."
Alright, so let's see. I guess I see if anyone chose a particularly interesting ruin, or if they pretty much all chose like strength or light.
You note that one girl, there's a rune still on the table. You don't see who made it. But it's still on the table, and it has a rather detailed drawing of an elephant on it. It's in a little, it's in a circle, and it's got a little detailed drawing of an elephant.
I decide to touch it.
Okay, you poke it, and nothing really happens.
Okay. So then, touching it doesn't do anything. I try and pick it up.
Okay, you put your fingers around it as you're going to pick it up like a little coin, but it doesn't move. It seems solid to the table.
I begin to smile as I know exactly what this is. So, let's see. I guess I...
Do you want to, slide it off the table and try to catch it?
No, I do not. I guess I want to see how effective this is. So I guess I grab a coin from my my pouch and I kind of lay it on the ground with it on its edge, and then I try and slide it off the table onto the coin to see if it is heavy enough to actually squish the coin.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it doesn't have the actual weight of an elephant.
Okay.
You slide the coin, but you find that it's quite difficult to actually slide it.
Uh-huh.
So you can't quite get it off because the edge of the table has like a lip, and you can't
Wait,
quite
I
get
stop. I stop at this point, and I ask the guy that was making the strength rune if he's finished, if I can borrow it.
No, nobody's making it. It looks like it was abandoned.
Okay.
And the lady at the behind the counter says, "Yeah, a very gifted little girl made that one."
Let's see here. I'll say I can't even move it.
Well, that's kind of the point. It's a rune of weight. It's supposed to be quite heavy to lift up.
I imagine it'd be very nice to have this for, let's see here, if you're one setting up a tent or something.
Yes, it would. But it might be a little difficult to take down the tent afterwards.
Is there not really ways of deactivating something like this?
If you're the one that made it, or if you're a particularly gifted person, you can deactivate them by simply crossing it out with another marker.
This little girl seems like quite a dick.
Do you say this?
Maybe I don't use the word dick, but I use maybe an expletive that would be appropriate for Arvin to say.
She chuckles at this and says, "Yeah, well, we have a lot of gifted people on staff, so crossing it out shouldn't be too hard."
So, let's see here. I guess I turn up at this and I say, so it is possible to disable a rune that somebody else made.
Yes, if you're gifted.
Okay. I guess I nod at this and I look to see what other booths are not so crowded at the moment.
You notice that a lot of people are kind of having lunch at this time. They're kind of walking around and just kind of gently talking. And you're at booth number, what was it? 6, totem making.
Yes, totem
so
making.
You have a clear view of 11 through 14.
11 through 14. That's still like a lot to go, isn't there? It's really taken ages to do this.
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Alright,
Good thing that this whole event isn't just a one day. It goes on for like a week.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess could you bring up the map again?
Oh, I'm not screen sharing again. I'm sorry.
Okay. Because now it's time for you to pick another place. Another place to investigate. Alright, so we got jewelry and pottery. Let's see here. That is the mining, smelting, and tool crafting place. Alright.
You see that it has decrowded a lot
Mm-hmm.
over there, and the crowd's kind of spread out a lot more, and the food booth is quite busy at this point.
Yeah.
But the mining and smelting and stuff is cleared out a lot, but there's still a bit of a line up.
Okay, I go over there and I go over there.
Okay, so you're going to the mining?
Yes.
Okay. You arrive at the mining booth
Mm-hmm.
and see a bunch of burly men with pickaxes.
Let's see here. I flex my muscles.
And some barrels
muscles
of
I have
just
at them.
crushed rocks and stuff.
Do I have any muscles?
One of the guys smiles and brings you a pickaxe.
Okay.
Yeah, you do, because you're an Arden.
Okay.
You're not as big as these guys, but one of the guys brings you a pickaxe and says, "Oh, there's plenty of room if you want to come in and start trying to smash some rocks."
With enthusiasm, I run up to a rock and try and chop it like I would a piece of firewood.
Okay, so you look around briefly and see that there's a large truck that's got this huge trailer on the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just piled high with giant boulders that have all sorts of different colors streaked into them.
Okay.
You recognize them as different minerals, but you don't come from a mining town, so you don't know what they are.
Mm-hmm.
So you run up to one that's kind of got this rusty colored lines through it, and you lift the pickup as high as you can and swing it at the rock. And the way you make contact doesn't quite work, and you end up dropping the pickaxe. And the big burly man that gave you the pickaxe just laughs.
Let's see here. I don't even like skip a beat. I pick the pickaxe and try it again in the exact same way, trying to reclaim some sense of my honor.
You pick it back up and you take a heavy stance again. You lift it up as high as you can and bring it down with all your might. And you hear a crack as it makes contact, and you broke the handle. At this time, the man there is like almost hysterical. He's laughing. He sat down on the ground. He finds this absolutely hilarious. He recomposes himself enough to bring you another pickaxe, and he just says, "Don't worry about it. That's why we bring so many."
So I guess I'm kind of hard faced at this point. And I again try it the exact same way. Same rock. Eventually the rock has to give.
Third time's a charm.
Yep.
Okay, you raise up the pickaxe just like the last couple times and bring it down as hard as you can. And this time, the sun catches your eyes just wrong, and you completely miss the rock, embedding the pickaxe into the dirt.
I try and, I'm now very angry at this point. I'm trying to pull it out of the ground.
The guy's laughing at you again. You easily pull it back out of the ground.
Okay, let's see here. I do like a... I try and let's see, do the axe swing again, but this time I do a jump. It's like I'm doing a wrestling move or something.
Okay. You take a bit of a run up to it, just a few steps, and you jump into the air, yell as loud as you can. Give me a good yell.
Yeah.
And you bring down the pickaxe as hard as you can, and there's a loud crack, and it just thunders as the rock splits into halves.
It was like a perfect split down the middle.
You almost perfectly split the rock into half, and the guy that's watching is laughing still because he finds that this is completely hilarious.
So I guess pleased with myself. Eventually, I pick up the two halves and just kind of admire my work here.
It's a very large boulder. You can't quite pick up each half with one hand.
True. Okay, I guess I try and like roll it over to see if like there's any crystals on the inside or something, or if I expose anything.
You flip the rock to its kind of the round side, so the side you exposed is up.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that the veins of rusty colored stuff gets quite thick in the middle. Mm-hmm. And the guy composes himself again, and he walks over and says, "You have to split it out and try to pick out some of the thicker rock, and just so you can get the pieces of iron."
So it's iron.
So now you have to try to break up the rock a little bit, and he brings over a wheelbarrow. Mm-hmm. Once you have chunks of the iron, put it in here, and we can take you to the next station.
Okay, so let's see. All right, I try and break it up some more. Let's see. I decided to keep doing the jumping thing because it seems to be effective.
Okay. You jump up and you smash the rock again, and you send some chips flying, and one of them hits you square in the forehead.
Ow! Do I take damage?
Not quite, but it does hurt.
Let's see. I kind of look around to see if anybody else is like wearing any masks or something, or if like I've missed out on some safety precautions.
Safety equipment.
Yeah.
No, nobody's wearing any safety equipment.
Okay, I guess I rub my forehead briefly and continue doing my doing.
Do you want to do the jumping thing still?
Yeah.
Okay. You take another running leap at it, smashing the rock. You manage to break off a few small pieces.
Mm-hmm. And I guess I throw them in the wheelbarrow.
Nothing's too substantial.
And
Do it again.
Wheelbarrow, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can pick up some of the small chunks and throw them in the wheelbarrow. And the guy says, you're going to have to get enough to fill the wheelbarrow.
Mm.
You barely made a dent in the wheelbarrow so far.
Okay, so all right, I keep doing the leaping thing, and I find another iron-looking rock.
Well, you've barely made any chips out of yours.
Oh, mine. Okay, so mine's not done yet, basically.
No.
Okay, then I keep doing mine then.
Okay, you daftly swing at it again.
with my leap.
Yes, at this point, you're getting a little overconfident with your leap, and as you come down, you lose your footing and you fall, dropping the pickaxe and hitting your face on the rock.
Ow!
The guy comes up to you and says simply, "Maybe the jumping isn't a good idea."
Let's see. Although I don't say this in my head, I'm thinking maybe this isn't for me.
He picks you up by the back of your shirt and puts you back on your feet.
All right, I try and finish the job that I started, but I don't leap anymore. I'm just doing it like normally.
You've taken a note that some of the people around you had started to watch you because they found you amusing.
Yeah, I think my character probably isn't that used to actual like manual labor that much, and so he's just kind of.
Yeah, you wouldn't be. You're a rich kid.
Yeah.
Okay, so you take another swing at it and you make a small chip.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking off very small chunks.
Okay, so I guess
you keep doing this a few more times, taking off smaller and smaller chunks and putting them into the wheelbarrow.
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting kind of frustrated at it by this point. And you let out a big yell again. A mighty roar. Give me a roar. And you bring down the axe with your last daft crunch, and the whole rock kind of just shatters.
And I guess I fill up the wheelbarrow.
And you fill the wheelbarrow with the chunks of iron. And the
now
guy's
the
like,
excellent time for a commercial break. Hello, introducing Unforgettable Berry Blast.
It's unforgettable until you do.
Let's talk with some satisfied customers. Sir, what did you think of Unforgettable Berry Blast?
What now?
Unforgettable Berry Blast. You're holding it in your hand right now.
What's a hand?
Well, see, like, you have, like, several fingers attached to it, and they grasp things, usually.
There's something on my arm.
Back to you, Brett. Hello, once again, imaginary audience.
Hello, and welcome back to the tales of... I have forgotten your name again.
Theodore Poplar.
Of Theodore Poplar.
This episode...
Daftly attempting to mine.
Yeah, in this episode, we're actually going to do something with the, my hopes and dreams that have been shattered by a pickaxe.
You became the laughing stock of the miners.
Yes.
To put that into perspective for the audience there, I was rolling dice every time he tried to mine. I kept getting like 2s and 3s on a d20.
So yes, it was, Theodore Poplar might not be the most experienced miner.
Yeah, but you know what they say, more is learned from failure than success.
It's true, it's very true. Have I gotten a new skill from failing to mine?
We'll see at the end of the day.
Okay. Yes, I guess for the audience it might be like a week from now, but they'll know eventually, I suppose. Anyway.
Well, the end of the day in game time.
Yeah, the end of Theodore's day.
Yeah.
When he goes to sleep and has a snooze.
Yeah, that's when all skills are logged and XP is calculated and, level effects and stuff happen.
Anyway, I have filled a wheelbarrow with my earnings, and I am going to another booth, I assume, with...
Yeah.
To smelt.
The man gestures to you. Oh, come along now. And he kind of urges you to follow him as he walks over to the next booth.
Mm-hmm. I do kind of push it along. It's probably pretty heavy.
Yeah, well, you're an Arden, so it's not too bad, and it is a wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
So you hoist the wheelbarrow and you push it over the rocky terrain with like all these different crushed rocks everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you make it to the next booth. It's booth 17, smelting.
Mm-hmm.
You see behind the booth there's a whole whack of these giant, colossal smelters set up. Mm-hmm. And there's a whole truck pulled up behind it, just filled with coal. And there's kids shoveling coal into the smelters and on giant billows, billowing heat into the smelters.
Wow. So I guess let's see. I maybe stopped pushing it at this point to just kind of gawk at the smeltery.
The man kind of gestures for you to keep following him and says, "Number 8 is free."
Okay, so I follow him to number 8.
Okay, you walk up to number 8, and you see next to it there's another wheelbarrow filled with coal, and the smelter is on, but it's not being billowed, and it doesn't have any iron in it right now. Well, it probably does, but it's a little solidified by now, I'm sure.
Yeah. I turn to the instructor.
And he says, shovel your iron into here. And he opens like this hatch, and it's like a chute up like a ramp. So you have to like take the wheelbarrow up a ramp and dump it into this chute.
As I shovel, let's see, so it was coal, right?
Yeah.
As I shovel coal into the smeltery, I think about how useful a speed rune would be right now.
So you quickly fill the amount of coal, and he's like, put your iron through here. So he goes around to the other side, and there's another chute where the iron goes in, but this is at like the top of the machine. So you have to take the wheelbarrow up like this precarious ramp all the way up there.
Okay. I try and push it up the ramp.
Okay. You push it all the way up the ramp fairly easy, and it goes right on top of it. And the heat from up there is intense as you dump the iron all the way into there. And then he closes the hatch, and he goes around to the other side and says, "Okay, over here," and he gestures to this giant billow.
Alright,
where
I
he's
guess you activate a billow. Is it just kind of you just push it?
Well, it's like a big accordion fold triangle thing.
Okay, so it's kind of you just kind of close it and open it several times.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I figure this out, and I begin to billow profusely.
Okay, you're billowing, and he's like, "Okay, it's well enough hot." And at this point, you're soaked in your own sweat from all this manual labor. You go over to the side where he is.
I kind of swing my arms, and sweat just kind of dribbles onto the ground.
Lovely. You go over to the side he is, and you see that there's like a spigot of sort that you pull down this chain and this whole like almost like a faucet, like a trench made out of some sort of metal, like swings down into this area that has a mold set into the ground. And he says for you to pick one of the 3 molds.
Okay, pick one of the 3 molds. Alright, so what are the choices of molds again?
There's a sword. It's a sword blade with no handle. And then there's an axe head. It's a double-sided axe. And then there's a smaller dagger.
Okay. Let's see here. I guess I'm tempted to metagame because I know what's going to happen when I leave home, but I guess I probably...
Well, you think about it, and you know that you're destined to inherit the family axe.
Yeah, so I kind of realize that that'd be kind of a bit of a waste to make an axe.
Yeah.
So I guess I decide to make a dagger.
Okay. So you pick the dagger and you push the whole trays over because they're kind of
It's
on
kind of a bit
rolls.
overkill for a dagger. Thinking about it, I could probably make like 10 daggers.
It's a very nice, like it's a fairly nice light weapon for close ranged attacks.
So it's probably more like a short sword than anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's like from Crocodile Dundee with the guy with like, now that's a knife kind of thing.
Kind of, yes. You could use it for hunting. It's kind of got a serrated side and a straight blade.
Okay, so I make the that's a knife thing.
Okay, so you push the mold over, so then it's got the dagger selected.
Mm-hmm.
And he gestures at the chain and says, "Okay, pull the chain when you're ready. Pull it down as hard as you can."
Okay, oh god. My character jumps onto the chain.
Okay, you jump up and grab the chain, but you don't get quite as good contact as you thought you did.
So I
And
slip
the
and
chain
fall through.
slips through your hand and you fall on your ass. The guy reaches up behind you and just pulls the chain down with one hand. And the whole thing swings down and the hot molten metal pours into the mold.
I kind of decide to roll out of the way in case like a molten metal drips on my face or something.
You do this and you easily get out of the way of this.
Yeah.
And the mold quickly fills up and he makes the chute go back up. So then he puts both hands over the blade, fairly close.
Mm-hmm.
And you see his palms of his hands glow like the other lady. And he kind of goes from the center of the dagger to both ends and kind of cools the whole blade almost instantly.
Mm.
And then he's like, "Okay, quick, before it cools too much," he hands you a pair of like giant tongs.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of whacks the mold good, like gives it a good whack with a big hammer almost.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of rattles loose a little bit.
And it kind of pops open, probably.
Yeah.
Not pops open, it pops the dagger up.
Yeah. And then he kind of says, "Okay, pick it up and it's time to quench the blade." And he takes you to a big bath. It's like a
Oil.
trough, like something you'd have animal drink out of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's filled with like a blackish liquid.
Let's see here. Well, I know in real life it would be oil, but
It is, yes.
yeah.
It is oil.
Yeah.
Your
So
character know this, though.
Okay. So I dip it into the I dip the the dagger into the darkish liquid with the tongs.
Okay. You submerge it fully in the oil, and it kind of flames up a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because the blade is still very, very hot.
Mm-hmm.
And then he takes you to another little furnace that's next to the big coal-powered one.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Oh, put it in here."
Okay. So this is a furnace, he said?
Yeah, it's like a giant furnace. He opens a little door, and it's like it's very long, but the door is on the thin side.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
It's just a little square door.
let's see. I take it out of the blackish liquid and stick it in there. Probably
Okay.
getting oil over my shoes.
Nah, you manage to evade messing your shoes.
Okay.
You're careful of this.
Yeah.
And you slide it into there, and he closes the door, and he gestures at another smaller billow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's see. I use the same speed that I use for the other billow, and just kind of billow away.
Okay. You quickly billow away, and then he starts gesturing and telling you to stop.
Okay.
But you don't quite realize this, so you keep billowing. It's like, whoa.
Sorry, I can't hear you over the sound of my billowing.
So you do stop, but you billowed a little longer than he wanted you to. So he hands you the tongs again and opens the little door, and it gestures for you to take it out.
Mm-hmm. Of course, I take it out.
Okay. You take it out, but you don't quite get a good grip on the blade, which is glowing red hot at this point.
Yeah.
And you take it out, and it kind of just slips out of your hand and falls into the dirt.
But I immediately turn to the instructor and look at his face.
He kind of just face palms and says to pick it up quick.
Okay, I guess I do my best to grab it with the tongs.
You grab it with the tongs again, and he tells you to put it back into the oil.
I put it back into the oil, dirt and all.
Yeah. It's a little flecks of like burnt dirt and stuff come up to the surface of the oil as it flooshes up with a flame.
This is gonna be the most brittle fucking sword in the world. No, dagger, sorry. Most brittle fucking dagger in the world.
Because you overheated it.
I had to heat it twice, in addition, yeah. Okay, so I threw it in the oil, I took it back out.
It's like a tempering process.
Yeah.
So you take it out of the oil and it's still quite hot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cooled off a lot. Mm-hmm. And then he gestures over to a big table and he says, "Oh, just leave it there and grab one of the other ones. It needs to set up a little bit." And you see that there's some instructors on another set of equipment just like yours, making more daggers and swords and axes. Mm-hmm. And they pick up yours with a pair of tongs and take it out back to where they were working.
Probably like melted somewhere where I can't see.
And you pick up one of the new ones.
I gotta peek around the corner to see what they're actually doing with my dagger.
You see that they take it and they throw it back into a giant smeltery and start melting it back down.
I'm a tiny bit crestfallen as I pick the new dagger.
You take a new dagger, and you take it, and he gestures for you to go into the tool crafting area. Uh-huh. They have some nice wood lathes there. Mm-hmm. So you enter the tool crafting area, and the guy follows through with you, and he's like, "Okay, now you have to carve a handle."
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, coming from a wood village, you've used a lathe before.
I'd probably be able to do some pretty advanced stuff if I wanted to.
Yeah. So there's already a nice chunk of wood already on the lathe. Mm-hmm. And he just hands you a small chisel and says, "Go for it." And he starts starts up the lathe and it goes and starts spinning the wood real fast. Mm-hmm. Have you used a lathe IRL?
I have not.
Okay, do you know what one is?
Yeah, see, it's like, I think it's just like a wire or something that you use to kind of carve a spinning piece of wood. Something like that?
It's not a wire, it's a chisel.
It's a chisel, okay.
It's a chisel.
But it is kind of like a spinning piece of wood that gets kind of,
yes.
slowly eroded, sort of.
Yeah, with the chisel, you carve out a pattern in it. Mm-hmm. So the guy just kind of gestures at it, and you start carving. Is there any particular shape you want to give your handle?
Let's see here.
Or
let's see.
You just aiming for handle shaped?
Let's see here. Well, okay, so it is a dagger. So I guess I want to make it look like a snake, kind of like a snake's head.
It's a lathe.
Yeah, so I guess it would kind of be like rather phallic looking then.
Yes, it would.
So let's see. I do like commit myself to a snake handle. I may not know enough about making handles to realize this is a bad idea, but
okay. So you start kind of carving in a round bulbous shape that repeats itself. And the instructor's like, no, just make it a smooth dowel. Okay. And then we'll wrap it with leather.
Okay, so I follow the instructor's instructions.
You quickly carve out away from it, and you kind of give it, instead of doing a completely smooth cylinder, mm-hmm. you kind of make it too thin at the end. So it kind of tapers a bit.
So it's just going to, like, snap or something.
And he's like, good. And he turns off the lathe. And he takes it out and takes it down to a drill press. Mm-hmm. And he mounts it in the center of the drill press and lines it up so you can just go and drill it down. Mm-hmm. So you stand up in front of the drill press. He turns it on. Mm-hmm. He tells for you to, pull it down when you're ready.
All right, I pull it down.
You just, yeah, without doing anything, you just like pull it down, and it hollows out the center of the handle.
Mm-hmm.
And then he takes you to another, like a little, just a workbench.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bottle of what you'd recognize as a glue. It's an adhesive material.
I try and recall if I've ever had that glue while I was in kindergarten.
You have not eaten it, no.
Okay.
It's a stronger glue than what they would allow you in kindergarten.
It would probably kill me.
Probably. Don't eat it, Spam.
Okay. It probably doesn't smell familiar anyway, so.
It smells like glue. So the instructor looks at you for sniffing the glue. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Let's see. Nothing. I was making sure that it was of good quality.
So he just kind of rolls his eyes a little bit and gestures for you to put the handle on your sword, and he gets a little brass fitting for the bottom of the sword, which the dagger, which you notice is there's a threading that they added to the bottom.
Okay.
That wasn't on yours.
Mm-hmm. A threading. Let's see.
Yeah.
Here. Would have been like I guess it'd be like a groove or something.
Well, like a screw.
Okay. Yeah.
The pattern on it that makes it all spirally that goes into wood.
I see. Okay.
That's a threading.
Okay. I understand. So it's basically like a wooden screw.
Except it's on your handle. It's on your it's on the blade.
Okay.
It's on the bottom of the blade. And he gave you like a little nut type thing to go on there.
Okay. So I guess I put on the nut.
Well, you put on the nut, but you quickly realize that the wooden handle you just carved isn't on there yet. He's like, no, put the handle on the dowel, and then put the nut on. And he seems quite exasperated at this.
Okay, so it was put the what on the what?
The handle you just carved?
Yes, I carved the handle, so I have the handle.
Put that on the blade.
Alright, I attach it to the blade.
Okay. I'm going to just assume you put some glue in there too, and then you screw on the bottom nut, and he hands you a bunch of leather straps to start winding around it.
Alright, so now,
you do have a level 1 weave, so this is similar to weaving, so you can do this part.
Okay, so I guess we see how well I weave.
Okay. You recognize immediately that you're supposed to weave this part.
Yes, so I do.
Okay, but apparently you've forgotten how to weave all of a sudden. And you start wrapping it around, and he's just like, nah, and he keeps coming in and fixing your work as you're doing it. And you end up with a product, but it's not done by you.
Yeah.
And he gestures for you to take it to a sharpening wheel now.
Mm-hmm.
He takes the knife and kind of shows you how to sharpen it.
Okay, so I guess I
moves
watch
to
him
the side
closely and I do exactly what he does.
Okay, and he moves to the side and gives you the blade so you can do yours.
Yes. So I do exactly what he does.
You start sharpening it and quickly lose grip, and you send the blade flying into the ground.
Okay.
He's like, no, and he takes it and sharpens it for you.
I have my face in my hands.
He sharpens the blade for you and says, maybe this isn't for you, and gives you the blade as he ushers you out of the stall.
And he says, never come back.
He doesn't say this, no.
All
but
right,
we found out that your character's not very good at blacksmithery.
I look at my blade.
You gaze down at the blade, and it's a nice dagger.
It's a nice dagger made by somebody else, mostly.
Made almost entirely by somebody else.
Okay, I realize I don't really have a sheath for this blade. So I'm kind of curious as what to actually do with it.
You do realize that a lot of the booths are starting to close down because it's getting late because you spent almost all day smashing rocks.
Let's see. I see. Okay, I do actually come back and say, "Can I have a sheath for this?" And I just kind of like hold outstretching a dagger.
He gives you just a piece of leather and tells you to just wrap it in that.
Okay, I do that, and then
It's like a soft, suede kind of, probably deer hide.
Mm-hmm. So I do that, and I put it in my backpack, and then I guess I go see if let's see here. Arcane Circuitry is still open.
You get to the arcane circuitry and see that they've already kind of cleaned up the majority of the things.
Mm-hmm. So there really isn't much to do now. Most of everything's closed down.
Yeah, it's all kind of closing down. It's the end of the day. And you're getting hungry, and you realize that your mom's probably making supper.
Alright, I guess I start walking back home then.
Okay. I'll switch to that map. This map. There we go. You make your way down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And the same guy you helped out this morning.
Well, let's see, at what point on the map am I, actually?
You're down by the festival.
Okay, so I'm still very close. Okay, I just want to make a stop before I go back home, just so you know.
Okay. You haven't even left yet. You notice that the guy who you helped this morning is packing up his things for the night and kind of tying down a lot of the things and putting a tarp over his area.
I guess I stop by next to him and kind of say, "Hey, how you doing? Need some help?"
He's like, "Yeah, sure. I just have a few crates to load up." And he gestures at the crates, and you see his truck is parked right close.
Okay, so I kind of help him move the crates, and I ask him how. Let's see, what he thought of the job fair,
the first day of the job fair.
Yeah.
Oh well, it went well. It was good for business.
That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad to see that you were very successful this morning with probably about like 100 people coming to your food shop.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a fair bit more food for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I sold more than I was expecting.
What was the most popular item today, you think?
The cotton candy. It's the first time I've sold it.
Oh, okay. And I didn't actually try that this morning.
Oh, well, you'll have to get some tomorrow.
Yeah.
Would you like a ride? I'm just about to head back to town.
Let's see, actually, I'm going to make a stop before I go into town, so probably best we go our separate ways here.
All right, have a nice night, and see you tomorrow.
You too. Goodbye.
He finishes loading up his crap and gets into his truck and goes and drives down the road.
Okay.
In his loud, steam-powered automobile.
Let's see, I begin to walk towards the bridge.
Okay. You're heading down to the bridge, and you make it there. There's lots of people driving down, and you see lots of people walking and stuff.
I wish to attempt to make my make my light rune again on the base of the bridge.
Okay, you take out your little wax marker, and you what symbol are you going to try to draw this time?
I will try and draw my abacus symbol.
Okay, so now that you've done it already before, you draw the abacus and you circle it as you do. And it flashes with a bright light before a red X appears on it and it peters out.
I find this kind of interesting. But so I guess it must be some sort of protective charm. It's not because there's too much magic.
Yeah, it does. You come to the conclusion that there must be a protective charm on the bridge. You think that maybe they added it recently because of the graffiti.
Okay, so I guess... Let's see here. I guess I would head home at this point then. I would go cross the bridge and make my way home.
Okay. This one. You go home and you enter the house and remove your shoes and stuff like you would. You go to the kitchen and say, "Hi, Mom." She's making
Hi,
supper.
Mom.
She's making supper, and it smells delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Smells like recognize it as ham again. You're a fan of ham. Do you like ham?
Do I like ham in real life or in character?
Both.
In real life, it's an alright meat. Let's see. I think I prefer steak, to be perfectly honest. But
Well, yeah.
yeah. Let's see. I think in character, I think maybe let's see. Theodore might be a little bit fussy with food a little bit, so he's kind of like he likes ham, so it's like his staple.
Yeah, because ham is a very good meat. And your mother is a fan of ham, so she cooks it a fair bit.
Yeah.
And this ham it's like a large honey glazed ham.
Ooh, I like those. That's good.
It's got like a ring of pineapple on the top. It's a canned pineapple that you recognize because we sell it at the shop a lot.
So, does my family usually have like a big talk at dinner, or is it kind of like we just kind of eat in silence and then go to our rooms?
Usually there's a big talk, but you notice that your dad is absent again.
I ask my mom if he knows where he is.
Yeah, your father had to take care of some business. You know, this is a very busy time of year for him. With the job fair and all.
Yeah. Okay, let's see, I kind of, let's see, I guess solemnly, let's see, is the dinner, like, done? Or is there, like, still work to be done?
She's set the ham on the table, and she says that the potatoes will be a second, but if you want to take a seat, I'll be there in a second.
Okay, I take a seat, and I kind of admire what's in the dining room.
You look up at the large china cabinet of sorts that's leaning up against the one wall, and it's this huge wooden cabinet with big glass doors on the front of it. And in it you see a lovely set of gold encrusted pottery plates.
Pottery plate, a golden crust pottery plates. Okay. Let's see. I guess I get up and walk over to the china cabinet and kind of look to see what sort of designs might be on these plates. Because I never really paid attention to them before.
They've got a repeating pattern of triangles and squares. So it's like a triangle with an overlapping square and then a triangle.
So I find this to be a very delightful pattern. So yeah, do I notice anything else interesting in the room?
In the cabinet, there's a few small paintings and portraits of people.
Do I recognize anyone?
You see a portrait of your grandfather.
Let's see. I try and recall my earliest memory of my grandfather.
Your earliest memory. He took you down to the river and went fishing with you.
Oh, okay. Did we catch anything?
You did not know, but he caught a rather large fish.
Okay. Yeah. I think my character rather enjoys fishing. That was probably a very nice bonding experience.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, I guess I kind of sit down and let's see here. I guess is my mom in the room, or is she kind of like left the room?
She's in the kitchen. You can see her from here because it's all open concept.
Let's see. Yeah, I guess I ask her if it's okay to dig in.
She's just like, 1 second, I'll be right there.
Okay.
And you see that she's putting the mashed potatoes into a big bowl, and she's got the gravy already in like a serving dish.
Okay. So I guess I wait patiently for her, and then just kind of sit there politely.
She walks over with the big thing of potatoes and the gravy, and sets them down in the center of the table with a large spread of feast.
Yes, very nice feast. And my character's probably fairly hungry because they only ate like one thing today. Well, actually 2 things today. So he had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He was fine.
Yeah, but the lunch was pretty light.
Yeah, pretty much.
Arthens eat a lot.
Hmm. I probably left my drink there too at that stall. I
You
just remember
did.
this.
You
I
forgot it at the stall.
I kind of is littering like a big thing in Arden culture, or is it kind of like no one really cares?
Well, the festival would be very cleaned up and maintenanced, so.
Yeah, so I probably wouldn't feel bad about leaving it there for in the sake of like somebody had to pick it up.
You do feel slightly bad for it, but
Mm-hmm.
more so because you left your drink behind. You didn't
Yeah.
get to finish it.
Nah. Yeah, so I guess I kind of tell my mom about my day, kind of tell about the people I met, like the boy from the fishing village, and let's see, the jewelry and stuff that I made, and I show it to her and all that.
You take out the big dagger and you set it on the table.
Yeah, and I unwrap it and I say, although I don't feel like I did too much for this dagger, but you know, it was yeah. I don't look very happy with the dagger.
Well, she looks at it and says, "Well, nobody masters a skill on the first attempt."
Mm-hmm. I nod sagely, I guess. I
It
ask her
took
how
me
her day
years
was.
to get a hold of the pottery.
Oh, let's see here. Let's see. I just asked her how her day was.
Just fine. The store was a little dead today.
Mm-hmm.
Not too many people came in, but I wasn't expecting it to be too busy.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I asked her what her favorite, I guess, a piece of pottery she's made is, if she has one.
And then she points at the plain-looking serving dish on the table. It's just a simple white bowl with an embellished rim, no fancy pattern or anything. She's like, "I'm rather fond of that piece."
I kind of let's see, look at it from let's see, a very kind of analytical point of view, and I say, why?
Well, if you don't remember, it was the first piece that you helped me make.
I smile. Let's see. I don't actually remember this, but I smile at that. I guess we don't really have much to talk about, kind of as we eat our dinner. It's kind of maybe a bit looming the fact that the father's not really there.
I suppose, yeah, but he wouldn't be there for a lot of dinners because he has a very busy day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't think really wouldn't much to talk about. Yeah, I've run out of talking subjects.
Okay, so you finish the supper with mild conversation on and off.
Mm-hmm. I'd probably help her wash the dishes.
You help clean up and put away the leftovers, and you're at this point you're pretty exhausted, and you head off to bed.
Mm-hmm. I head off to bed. Do I have any books?
No, not really. You have your school books.
Yeah, I like to read my old homework as I go to bed. Kind of, I guess
Fine.
maybe in reflection, I guess.
Okay. Well, you go off to bed and go zee 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 zee. And I think that's where we should leave it for the day.
Yeah, that's it. That's all, folks.
That's all she wrote, boy.
That's all she wrote. Yeah.
And by she, I mean me, because I wrote
Yes.
that shit.
Good job, Lady Wilson.
Why, thank you. I think, yeah.
I rather enjoyed that, personally. I hope you
Next
did too at
time.
home.
Next time on the Imaginary Podcast, we shall continue the story of Theodore Poplar.
Dun, dun, dun.